Namaskar, everyone. This is Sushant Divgikar, aka Rani KoHENur, and today we are going to have a fantastic session. We are going to speak about the first transgender clinics in the country that are run by transgender people for transgender people. We call this clinic Mitr Clinic because we think that more than anything, we want you to believe that we're your friends. We're here to help you. So without further ado, let's invite the reigning Miss Trans Queen India, who is going to represent India internationally. ये मेरी दोस्त हैं, सहेली हैं. मैंने इनसे बहुत कुछ सीखा है और आज ये अपने बारे में आपको भी बताएंगे. So please help me in welcoming Miss Shaine Soni. Shaine, it's always such a pleasure to see you, meet you, and chat with you. You are such an inspiration to today's youth and the younger trans people in our country and now internationally. But very few people, I think, know about your journey. You had a lot of roadblocks. And, what was that dysphoria like for you as a kid?
Shant, you know what, honestly, as a kid, I had no idea about genders. So my first introduction towards genitals were, it was very, it was very harsh in a way where it was hammered in my head. Okay, you are born a boy. And I was like, how do you know I'm born a boy? I would question back. I was always like this since my childhood. So they would say, okay, you're born with the male genital, and very Hindi literal terms they used to say. And these were not unknown people to me. These were my relatives. These were my cousins. These were my friends. Okay, when this was constantly coming from all over. So I thought then, everybody is saying then there must be a genuine problem with me that, I might be having some kind of, of course, it was taken as a disease that time. My mom was suggested to, take me to a psychiatrist for that. Imagine at the age of like 12, 13, you're visiting a psychiatrist and he would pinch me. Every session he would pinch me and he would not allow my parents to come in. He would pinch me that, why do you behave like this? When I came back and I told my parents about it, my mother was like, okay, you're trying to make excuses that you don't want to go there. So imagine the kind of mental turmoil as a kid I was going through where, I was getting physically, assaulted by a doctor. And there's a huge turmoil going on inside my, brain where I'm trying to fix that, okay, what am I? You have nobody to speak to. Whom to speak to? Your parents are not listening to you, your friend. So I had this best friend of mine and I spoke to him. He said, I'm going to accompany you. And you know what? First of all, he was not allowing him to come along. He said, no, I want to sit. I want to know about my friend. He forced. And then when he, tried to do something again, and very quietly he did. So I made a noise and that's when my parents got to know. Honestly, I really thought that it was not worth convincing because first I had to convince myself because I was put under so much of conditions, so many confusions. So I kind of thought that, okay, I have to get through my schooling first. So I paid all my attention to my, academics. And then once I got out of the school, the first decision that I made was I want to leave the house. When I moved out, it was again very difficult to stay alone in a PG because PG mein kya? Boys PG mein rehna hai, girls PG mein rehna hai. What is it? And constant. And, you also become, just because you're little petite and feminine, you become a very prominent
sort of thing.
Target for a lot of people ki haan, isko pakad lo, sexually abuse kar do.
Right.
So, and there was this constant fear that, I was living in for a long, long time. And then my only focus was that I knew it, that, my only way of getting through this whole thing would be making a successful career. So that's when I worked really hard. I got through NIFT. I thought that if I get through NIFT, my life is sorted. But right. I was wrong there. I was wrong there as well. In my college also, my seniors bullied me. A lot of my faculties used to bully me. So I thought that, NIFT was always this place where I thought I'll be comfortable. But there also people would not really, accepting.
How did this kind of journey happen? That where did you kind of get this information about HRT, about transition? And what was that process like, your transition process?
So I had a senior in my college and we used to hear about her that, okay, she's gone through a surgery and my seniors used to tell me. So I started researching. I read a lot. And then I came across a couple of, trans girls who apparently misguided me. They said, darling, you start having this hormone, you start having, And imagine, passion of being a woman was so strong that without even consulting doctor, I started having these hormones tablets. And then I realized that okay, it is not easy, because popping one pill can do so much to your brains, so much to your the entire system. And then I somehow I got of another very dear friend. She apparently guided me right, where I happened to visit a doctor, and it was in Sitaram Bhartiya Hospital, New Delhi. And Dr. Kotwal, and I went for my first consultation, and that's when I started my hormones. And trust me, you know that moment I realized that I was under supervision. I was under right hands. Always keep someone around you.
Mhm.
But trust me, that whole journey, it is just flashing in front of my eyes right now. It was so
Yes.
difficult. It was so difficult because you do not know what is happening in your, and you are going through so much. And then of course there are a lot of changes physically happening to you.
Yes.
You are in a phase, initially you're in a phase where you would look like a man, sometimes you would look like a woman, sometimes that whole transitioning phase, initial transitioning phase, is very scary. You don't want to step out of the house, you don't want to face people.
And that is when an a 360-degree approach to transition is very required. And I think that the most beautiful part about clinics like the Mitr clinics is the fact that there are people who will guide you without judging you first.
Yes, exactly.
That will not attack you, that will not assault you, will not judge you, and
rather understand you and love you also. I so wish this kind of place was built when I started my transition, because the kind of comfort it feels only by hearing it. And I would suggest everybody to rather just go to a clinic like that, rather than just running to 10 different places.
Yes, that's true. But finally, if you had to leave us with one message, Miss Trans Queen India, what is that one message that you would like to give them?
My message is very firm, and I've been saying it since since the time I have been crowned also, that I want people to understand that each body is different. We are individual. We don't have to compare each other. We don't have to compare our transition with another trans girl's transition.
Thanks so much for emphasizing that everybody is different and everybody is beautiful. So beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder, and I think you are splendidly beautiful from the inside as well as from the outside. Thank you so much, Shaine, for joining us.
Thank you so much, and it's always a pleasure talking to you. And you look so stunning, woman.
Okay, so that was Shaine, the reigning Miss Trans Queen India. Now we're going to meet a बहुत ही amazing activist हैं. इन्होंने बहुत कम्युनिटी के लिए बहुत काम की है, ट्रांस कम्युनिटी के लिए, LGBT कम्युनिटी के लिए, हेल्थ केयर में बहुत इन्होंने काम किया है, एक्टिविस्ट रही हैं और बहुत मुझे इंस्पायर करती हैं. So please help me in welcoming Amruta Soni. Amruta, welcome on this wonderful session जहाँ पर हम गुफ्तगू करेंगे. So tell us, Amruta, when you were growing up, what was your journey like, and when did you realize आपने कभी transition किया? आपके थोड़े जो initial years हैं उनके बारे में बताइए हमें.
सबसे तो पहले सबको नमस्कार. मेरा नाम अमृता सोनी है, बट अमृता सोनी से पहले मेरा नाम पॉल सेवियर कोलमपरमवेल रहा. मैं born and brought up शोलापुर, महाराष्ट्र के एक छोटे से गांव से हूँ, और वहीं पे मैंने अपना 10th कंप्लीट किया. 10th के बाद जब फैमिली को पता चला कि नहीं ये हमारे में नहीं रह सकता है, देन मुझे बोला गया घर छोड़ दो. घर छोड़ के मैं अपने कम्युनिटी में आई और ट्रांजेक्शन स्टार्ट हुआ मेरा. एज ऑफ 16 आई वेंट अंडर सर्जरी, जो हमारे में दाइमा सर्जरी कहा जाती है. दाइमा सर्जरी हुई. उसके बाद मैं अपने करियर की एजुकेशन कंटिन्यू करती रही. उसके साइमल्टेनियसली बेगिंग, सेक्स वर्क, बार डांसर, इन सब चीज़ों को करते हुए मैं अपने करियर के ऊपर भी फोकस किया, क्योंकि मेरे मम्मी का ड्रीम था कि शायद फैमिली एक्सेप्ट करेगी जब तुम एजुकेट हो जाओगी और अपने आप को ये कर पाओगी, तो लोग तुम्हें एक्सेप्ट करेंगे. सो आई हैव कंप्लीटेड माय ग्रेजुएशन एंड MBA फ्रॉम मार्केटिंग एंड HR फ्रॉम सिम्बोसिस. तो दिस इज अबाउट माय जर्नी, स्मॉल एंड शॉर्ट.
जब आपको पता चला कि आप PLHRV पॉजिटिव हैं, and being a trans person. क्या बाधाएं आई आपके लिए?
सुशांत, अगर सच बताऊं तो जब बहन 2012 में जब मेरा नवंबर में रिपोर्ट आया कि एम एन HIV पॉजिटिव, तो कह सकती हो कि पैर के नीचे से जमीन चल गई। फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन मेरे अपने आप में था कि ये कैसे हुआ मुझे। दूसरा ये था कि ये जानती थी कि 2012 में ही जब रेप हुआ था, तो उस वक्त मेरे को बहुत सारा ब्लड कॉन्टैक्ट हुए हैं उस रेप में, तो मेरे को थोड़ा सा वो एक टेंस था कि कहीं उसमें से किसी की वजह से तो नहीं हुई। और तुम जानती हो आज भी हमारे ट्रांस कम्युनिटीज का रेप होने पे कहीं सुनवाई नहीं होती है, ना किसी को पनिशमेंट होता है। 8 से 15 दिन तो मैं पॉइजन की बोतल साथ में लेके घूम रही थी कि मैं खुद को खत्म कर लूं, क्योंकि पहले एक स्टिग्मा था बीइंग एज अ हिजड़ा बोल के, जो समाज ने हमको अच्छा नाम दिया है, बट जब हम ऊपर से पॉजिटिव हो जाते हैं तो विद इन द कम्युनिटी भी एक सबसे बड़ा डिस्क्रिमिनेशन है। आज भी कम्युनिटी के अंदर आपको वो चीज का एक्सेप्टेंस नहीं मिल पाएगा। तो सबसे पहले तो मुझे कम्युनिटी से जो डिस्क्रिमिनेशन था उसको झेलना पड़ा। और तुम समझ सकते हो जब हम अपने पेरेंट्स का घर छोड़ के आते हैं, अपने गुरु कल्चर में जब आते हैं, तो बहुत से बार गुरु तक साथ छोड़ देते हैं। तो ऐसे वक्त जब जरूरत होती है तो कम्युनिटी फ्रेंड्स जो होती है, जो एनजीओ में काम कर चुके, वही समझ पाती है कि हाँ इट्स नॉट अ बिग डील। बट आज भी समाज में वो एक डर जो है कि अरे वो हिजड़ा उसको HIV पॉजिटिव, वो एक डिस्क्रिमिनेशन, स्टिग्मा, डिस्टेंस बनाना शुरू होने लगता है। और उसके साथ लड़के अपने आप को ओपन आउट करके जीना सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज था। मुझे सबने कहा कि मत ओपन आउट होना, इतना आसान नहीं है जिंदगी। वो एक स्टिग्मा को झेलते झेलते मैंने डिसाइड किया कि नहीं, मैं ओपन आउट होके जीऊंगी, जो होना है मुझे, भूखा मरना है, जिंदा रहना है, जो भी होगा मेरे नसीब से, जो होगा होगा। एंड फाइनली आई टुक अ डिसीजन टू ओपन आउट विद माय HIV स्टेटस, और मैंने ओपन आउट करके अपनी जिंदगी जीना शुरू। उस वक्त ना मेंटल हेल्थ काउंसलिंग पता था लोगों को, ना साइको सोशल काउंसलिंग पता था, और हमारे पास ऐसी कोई जगह नहीं थी कि जहाँ पे हम लोग जाके कहीं काउंसलिंग ले सकते। और मैंने तब से फिर ओपन आउट होके बहुत सारे कम्युनिटीज के साथ काउंसलिंग सेशंस अरेंज किए, सपोर्ट ग्रुप मीटिंग्स के थ्रू मैं कनेक्ट होने लगी और लोगों को ज्यादा से ज्यादा कम्युनिटी को अवेयर करने लगी कि ये कोई बड़ी चीज नहीं है और इसके साथ आप लाइफ लॉन्ग जी सकते हो।
That's amazing. And आज भी आई एग्री के बहुत सारे जो लोग हैं कम्युनिटी से, वो डरते हैं जाने के लिए, या फिर वो डरते हैं हेल्प मांगने के लिए, क्योंकि जैसे आपने कहा कि स्टिग्मेटाइज हमें जो हेल्प करने की उनका जॉब है हमें हेल्प करने की, वही स्टिग्मेटाइज करते हैं। तो आई थिंक दैट इट इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर क्लिनिक्स लाइक द मित्र क्लिनिक, वी नीड मेनी मोर, क्योंकि हेल्थ केयर सभी के लिए है। आई कीप सेइंग दिस, हेल्थ केयर, एवरीबडी डिजर्व्स हेल्थ केयर। वो आपका लिंग ना देखे, लैंगिकता ना देखे, सबको हेल्थ केयर, it should be mandatory that nobody should be discriminated, वरना उनका लाइसेंस चले जाना चाहिए, ये मेरा मानना है। I think you have summed it up very beautifully. What is the one thing that आप करना चाहेंगी हमारे ट्रांसजेंडर कम्युनिटी के लिए, हमारे जो आने वाले बच्चे हैं, पीढ़ी हैं?
तो एक ऐसा सिंगल विंडो होना चाहिए जहां पे हम अपने राइट्स के बारे में हमें पता होना चाहिए। उस विंडो से एक ही जगह जाए और सारी इंफॉर्मेशन कलेक्ट करे, और अपने एक लाइवलीहुड के लिए, कम्युनिटी के लिए लिंकेजेस बहुत जरूरी है। आज भी हमारे कम्युनिटी के पास गवर्नमेंट स्कीम लिंकेजेस है नहीं। हमारे कम्युनिटी को ये नहीं पता है कि मेरा आधार कार्ड कहाँ बनेगा, मेरा पैन कार्ड कहाँ बनेगा, बैंक अकाउंट कहाँ खुलेगा। बेसिक नीड्स है जो बहुत जरूरी है कम्युनिटी की। जो यूथ बाहर आ रहे हैं, दे डोंट नो व्हाट इज द ट्रांजिशन, HRT कैसी खानी है, क्या हार्मोनल टेस्ट होने हैं, उनको नहीं पता है। और वो इसका साइड इफेक्ट ये हो रहा है ना कम्युनिटी पे आज की बहन, कि जो एक कोई ट्रांस खा रही है, जो पहले उसने अपना हार्मोन टेस्ट कराया, फिर उसके ऊपर HRT स्टार्ट हुई, क्योंकि उसके हार्मोन्स अलग है। बट कम्युनिटी जो विदाउट हार्मोन टेस्ट उसके प्रिस्क्रिप्शन पे मेडिसिन खा रही है, इन दैट केस वहां पे हमें काउंसलिंग की सख्त जरूरत है। 1% कॉन्टैक्ट बहुत अच्छा रहेगा।
Right.
We need again follow up and everything at single window.
Right. And I think we're getting there, Amruta. So we're taking baby steps, and I think that जो clinics हम when we are coming out with clinics like this, I think बहुत सारी चीजें ये लोग ऑफर करते हैं. There is when you're doing the hormone replacement, you are getting the counseling for facial feminization, masculinization, everything. There's a lot of services at Mitr Clinic. But I do agree कि आप जो बोल रही हैं कि एक ही जब सेंटर में सारी चीजें टेक केयर होती हैं, तब आपको बाहर से 5 आवाजों को सुनना नहीं पड़ता, क्योंकि वो 5 अलग अलग आवाजें आपको अलग अलग चीजें भी बताएंगी. सो आई थिंक दैट्स ग्रेट अमृता, और हमने आपकी बात सुनी है. एंड आई होप दैट जो भी लोग देख रहे हैं यहाँ पर, वो इन पे गौर फरमाएं और ये चीजों को मद्देनजर रखते हुए ट्रांस कम्युनिटी के बारे में सोचें. Thank you so much, Amruta, for joining us, and it always is such a pleasure to see you. Thank you so much, Amruta. Namaskar. Thank you. And that was Amruta, everyone. What a wonderful person. What a wonderful, wonderful human being. जो अपने से ज्यादा शायद दूसरों के लिए सोचती हैं. And I think that is what a real activist is, and someone I really look up. Now, moving forward, our final guest, जो हैं Dr. Anmol Singh. I can't wait to have this conversation with Dr. Anmol Singh, because I've heard so much about him and I've read so much about him, and we've never really met, but I've seen his interactions with people, and I think he's wonderful. So welcome, Doctor, to this session, and I'm waiting to have this conversation with you. But first, I want to understand, what was it like for you growing up? जब आप छोटे थे, we have this dysphoria, and we don't have enough representation in the media, in pop culture, in society in general. For you, how was it growing up?
Hi, Rani. So, the younger part of the life was as challenging as it could be for any trans person. Be it male, female. I think we all go through same social challenges. Our systems are not strengthened enough to support the trans adolescent and youth. And I, as an individual, felt very isolated, in that huge group of people. Yes, I was unaware of the fact that I do have a community, standing outside and living. I was just unaware, not sensitized, and that's the reason for a longest period of time. When I was growing up, I was born in a good family. I got the opportunity to get educated. But one thing, which changed my life was, when I started, getting into medical school. The only reason I would say to you I joined that school was because I did not want a miss in front of my name. Like, the best thing I could do is just become a doctor. It'll make my life easy. So with that, I think that was the inspiration for me to get into that school. But the life didn't stop there. It was absolutely upside down. When you feel the elite society, in the community would be much more educated and more open, but they were also highly stigmatized. So things have changed, and I've become a person I am right now. But it was not a very smooth journey. I've seen really big lows and really big highs as well.
Yeah, and we are also proud of you. I love the fact that when you have nomenclatures attached to your name, and then there is this gender that you have to, I don't know why you have to put it, but I can only understand, when you say that, when in the elitist, from an elitist point of view, you would understand and you would think that people are educated and stuff. But I have seen in a lot of metropolitan cities, a lot of my friends whose parents are very well to do, but they're not aware of this, as you said, they're not sensitized enough. And in fact, there's more stigma there. So that's, and today, I love the fact that, you're a doctor more than anything else. And I think that you worked so hard for it. But very often हमने देखा है कि जो trans men हैं, उनको इतना ज्यादा उनके बारे में बात नहीं किया जाता. उनके जो struggles हैं, उनके जो issues हैं, या फिर whether they are psychological or physical needs जो हैं उनके, ये ज्यादा represent नहीं किया जाता हमारी मीडिया में, या फिर इनके बारे में बात नहीं की जाती. तो can you share some instances where you have been on the other side, for example, to understand these things from your patients, people that come to you for help, and also when you were sort of transitioning, or your journey.
When I see this larger umbrella of trans men not being as a subject of discussion, I would say that's underrepresentation from our end only. We have a tendency to camouflage very easily, especially coming from a patriarchal society. Initially, parents tend to not support. Once you start the transition, they tend to get okay with trans men a lot of times. I've seen that. A lot, around in the society. And I live in Delhi, and I see a lot of trans men going for the transition, and after that they just camouflage, been into that cis gender, normalcy, and they move towards that part of the world, and they don't like to be talked. So I think this is where I see the challenge.
And sorry to interrupt, but what do you think is the reason for that?
I would give my own example. When I started transitioning, it's not too long back, it's around 3 years back. The first thing, my mom also said, do you really need to tell anyone? I mean, you're moving to a different place. And it's not that, she's an educated woman, but it's like they don't want it to be a topic of discussion. We live in a society where, men are privileged. And that's how I've seen, especially in, trans men community also, parents tend to put some kind of pressure on them as well that, we have supported you. Why do you want to go to that route? And most importantly, I mean, to be honest, I see that there is a knit community when it comes to trans females, especially the Hijra community, where they're nurtured, they're brought together, and they are taken care by each other. We lack that system in the trans men community. We don't have too many groups where you can go and talk about it. Eventually, once you transition, you feel like, why do I have to go out and, be about it? I can just go and get married to someone. The idea of being normal is more important than the idea of making things normal for the future generation, so we are lacking that.
आप हमें बताएं कि ट्रांस मेन के जो भी बाधाएं आती है उनके हेल्थ नीड्स के इश्यूज जो हैं वो कैसे डिफरेंट होते हैं, and how do you tackle that?
Mental health, plays, big swings in life, starting from, when you're born. I mean, there was no coming out for me. I was always a boy. And, the most important challenge I could always face is no matter how good people are to you, once they're falling out, they'll always slap you on the face with that gender specific tana, and you keep on thinking about it throughout your life. What did you do wrong? And how could people who are nice to you be like that to you? The only good thing I could find eventually was I could only always confide to my own community. And that's how, I moved abroad. My life had to bring me back here. So I came back. I just found a group of people, we used to call them trans collectives, used to sit together, eat together. And we were just about being trans and so proud of it. And how my mental health came back into that safe space, I was shocked without, being transitioned. And then I came back to India and I found another group of people, thankfully, who built that, strength in my in my living, that I could stand in front of you and talk to you today. So I think it's the community which gives you a better life, and mental health is absolutely connected to it. And all of us need to work with each other and collaborate with each other so that we can nurture these youth who are actually in silos, standing alone and facing those difficulties.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for joining us. And which is why I think Mitr Clinic is doing a fantastic job. I think we're being those, they're being the torchbearers in so many ways. I've visited the clinics, and you see so many young people, and I wish we had this, we had these safe spaces, as you said, because you meet so many people that have similar issues and similar dysphorias and similar problems that they can even talk to each other about and not be judged about it. A lot of times when we go to receive help, the people that are supposed to give us help are the ones that end up judging us. And I think that healthcare is very important, and healthcare is for everyone. And I think this is what clinics like these and initiatives like this really forward and perpetuate. And I think that's beautiful. Thank you so much, Doctor, for joining us. And it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Thane.
It's my pleasure to have had this opportunity to speak with them. So I would like to thank, first of all, JHU and Mitr Clinic for organizing this. और अगर आपको किसी भी चीज की जरूरत हो तो सारा इंफॉर्मेशन आपको यहाँ पे दिखेगा, जहाँ पर हम मित्र क्लिनिक के सोशल मीडिया हैंडल्स को टैग करेंगे. We will be giving all the information and you can access it. Come meet us, come talk to us, come get all the information that you need, all the help that you need. Because as I keep saying, जो हम कहते रहते हैं कि health care is for everyone. Everybody deserves to be loved. Everybody deserves to be taken care of. So thank you so much. And it's a pleasure always. Namaskar.
Bye.